Next is our chief guest, Mr. Hammad Naqi, who is the current Director General of WWF Pakistan, academically trained as an engineer. There's one message that I really like about you is that for youngsters applying for WWF is that I want people to be passionate and crazy about nature conversations and want to contribute for a better future of Pakistan. Mr. Hammad.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Dr. Sajid, Dr. Qadir, respected faculty members, fellow students, external speakers, Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon. Let me first thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to share some of my thoughts. And honestly, this was a huge learning opportunity for me. WWF, as the largest environmental organization, which also a science-based organization, strongly believes that plastics in general and the impact on biodiversity and human health in particular is one of the major environmental challenges being faced in Pakistan. I won't go into the details because a lot of facts and figures were shared by literally all the speakers, but just a couple of things. I think in one of the meetings, I suggested that let's declare plastic as our national flower. You go, you go out of the city, you look into any water body, you go and visit the northern areas, you'll see plastics literally everywhere. झाड़ियों पे हैं, दरख्तों पे हैं, घास में हैं, meadows में. So there you can see you can't ignore plastics. Second, I think the recent UNEP report says that Indus is the second largest source of plastic pollution in marine environment. And obviously, more than 95% of the source is the land source. So the Indus just carries all this pollution to our sea. Now, the good thing about, and I think, Dr. Sajid, I would like to congratulate you and all the faculty members. The good thing about a lot of research which was shared today, this was not a typical academic research where both the students and the faculty just focus on getting, few papers published in peer-reviewed journals and just to build the CVs. This is the research which is required by the policy and decision maker. This is the research which is required for an organization like WWF for our policy and advocacy work. This is the research which is badly needed, for the private sector. So in that respect, congratulations and thank you very much. And I think this is something which makes this center slightly unique when you compare it with some other academic institutes. Secondly, let me share with you that, as I think a couple of speakers, Dr. Saira and also mentioned, that a lot of is being done. Committees have been established, some draft legislation policy framework is there, but as with many other sectors, we don't see enforcement, we don't see compliance of those policies. So that's the biggest dilemma. The second is there are some general principles which are followed in the developed world and many developing countries, and they are very common. And I think we need to ensure that these are followed in Pakistan. Polluter pays principle. So if you're generating waste, you should be responsible. Whether you are a market, whether you are a big brand, if you have a product, you have to be responsible for the life cycle of that product. If there's a multi-layer packaging, whether it's Tetra Pak or it's a chips wrapper, it's a multi-layer packaging. It's very difficult to collect and B, to recycle it. So that's where the second principle comes. The second principle is extended producer responsibility. So as a producer, you should be responsible for the life cycle of that product. So you can't close your eyes. Oh, no, this is the government's responsibility. We don't have a proper integrated solid waste management system. Hamara, collection nahi hai, hamari segregation nahi hai. All kinds of, these are genuine arguments. We do understand, but that, does not allow you to continue or follow the business as usual approach. You have to take the responsibility. That's the second, principle. I think keeping that in mind, there's a recent development where a consortium of private sector and WWF as a partner has been established. It's called CORE. You can visit the website. It's CORE is like CO for collection and RE for recycling. The primary objective is to improve the collection system and the recycling. I think a lot of speakers mentioned about the gaps. I think the one gap is there are two types of plastic, as an environmentalist, I could say. There's a positive value plastic and there's a negative value plastic. Positive value plastic is maybe the PET bottle. You don't see PET bottles. Where do they go? You go and visit, unless, if they are being produced million per day, you can see 100 per day, which are not being collected. So they are being collected. They are being recycled. That's the positive value plastic. And then there are negative value plastic. There's no value attached to that. The value is there, as I think Dr. Kader and a few other speakers mentioned. Well, plastic as a resource, whether I think aapne bhi ye cheez kahi ke you can convert it into different forms. You can make electricity out of it. You can produce energy. But we have to ensure that the negative value plastic, and to support the informal sector, I think there was another colleague who mentioned about that. We all talk about कि ये कबाड़िया wala hai, then there is a raddi wala, then there is a small recycling unit. So they are all doing that, but they are not picking the negative value of plastic. There should be some business incentives for those stakeholders to also, play their role. I think last, I don't want to take a lot of time. We have a campaign which is no plastics in nature. The research which is being done, I think that's critically important for our advocacy, for our lobbying. There are solutions available. It has to be a joint struggle where we push the policy and decision maker, we push the private sector, who are primarily responsible for a lot of products as well, to play their role, to contribute in managing this problem. The one example which most of you saw yesterday, E11 ka jo I sent my team there. The drain, obviously the drain was clogged. The drain was clogged and it was all plastic waste. And the result was that the cars were floating, like a plastic duck in a channel. So with this, once again, thank you very much, sir, for giving me this opportunity. Congratulations to all the students, the speakers, for sharing excellent research, and look forward to having more formal collaboration between WWF and CEs. Thank you very much.
Say no.